All right, time for the After Canes Conference. Just kidding. Some might call it that, but this is going to be the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's going to be the ACC preview for college football for this upcoming season. Before we get into it, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for some more content. I'm just going to break down from 10 to 1 to who I think is going to win the conference. Before we start at 10, I'm just going to list off some of the teams I didn't have in the top 10. And I'll go in order. I had Stanford finishing last. Not a lot of talent there. We all know they're going to be at the bottom. Kind of similar situation for Boston College. I got Duke finishing 15th in this conference. Not a big believer in Duke this year. UNC in 14. I know Bill Belichick. He's the GOAT of NFL. He ain't the GOAT of college football, man. He's not getting the hang of things. That team does not look any better. I got him at 14. 13, I got Wake Forest. I think that's a slight step up for them compared to last year, but still not within the same realm as some of these other teams. But then we got Syracuse at 12. Virginia Tech at 11. That one was a tough one. I almost slid them in there, but I couldn't do it. And then that's where we had the ACC so far. Before we begin, comment down below who you think is going to win the ACC down below. And stay tuned for some more conference. I know I posted a SEC conference preview. I think after this, we're going to go Big 10 and Big 12, and then we're going to go to some college playoff predictions. So, yeah, let me know about how the setup is. I kind of changed the setup for this video just because I think you'd be able to see the schedule a little bit better, more clear in this video. But with all that being said, let's get started. In 10th, I got FSU, the Seminoles. With the Seminoles, they have Aston Daniels coming in to be their quarterback. They are bringing back a bunch of the receivers, including Deuce Robinson, who's going to be probably the number one target, massive 6'6" receiver. They got talent on this team. They just have a tough schedule this year. They got to play the likes of SMU. Thankfully, that's going to be at FSU. They got to play Bama at Bama, Louisville at Louisville, Miami at Miami. They get to play Clemson at home. They play Pitt at Pitt. And then they finish off the season with Florida. That's a brutal schedule in my opinion. I think FSU is going to struggle a ton. My Jordanville might be done after this year. So I got FSU at 10. I know there's been some hype with Aston Daniels in the training camp footage. Not training camp, with the fall practice, spring practice, whatever. Maybe there'll be some life with FSU. I'm just not buying into it, so that's why I got them finishing at 10th. In 9th, I got Virginia. This team's going to be led by James Franklin. I know it was a messy end to the season last year for him. Now he gets a new start in Virginia. They brought in a transfer quarterback in Bo Perulo. He recently beat out Eli Holstein to be the starting quarterback for that team, so I think that'll be a promising look for Virginia. They're going to have talent, this team, some returning talent as well. Their schedule isn't too bad. I think they avoid most of the heavy hitters in the ACC, including Miami, Louisville, Clemson, but they do get SMU, so they are on the lighter side of the schedule for the ACC, so I think that's why I kind of gave them the edge here over a team like Virginia Tech or FSU. They're going to be promising. I think they'll be a well-coached team. Bo Perulo is going to be solid at quarterback for them. They have solid receiving options. Virginia might be a team that actually surprises us a little bit, but I'm going to stick with them at 9. At 8, I got Georgia Tech, led by Brent Keys, and they brought in a big transfer quarterback in the reigning Heisman quarterback's brother in Alberto Mendoza. So we actually don't know. We don't really have any idea how good Alberto Mendoza is, but he'll have his opportunity at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is normally known for having some really solid weapons around them. They had Haynes King, who recently went, I believe he went undrafted, but recently played the Hall of Fame game for the Panthers and played well. So they brought in Justin Haynes from Alabama. He might be a solid option for them at running back. We'll see how they do this season. In terms of their schedule isn't that bad as well. They do have somewhat of a difficult non-conference schedule. They started the season against Colorado. That's not too bad, but then they have to go play Tennessee. Thankfully, that's going to be at Georgia Tech, so still looking pretty bad. In terms of the ACC schedule, they do get a lot of tough guys like Pitt, Louisville, Clemson, but that's like the toughest of their schedule, and they finish the season off with Georgia. I mean, that is also that is a pretty tough non-conference schedule right there. So I think Georgia Tech's going to be tested. They'll be battle tested early. I think that's going to prepare them for the ACC conference play, but I still don't think they're there to compete with some of the top guys. So that's why I kind of got them at 8 there. I just now realized I haven't been going over some of the odds, but we'll start here. In 7th, I got North Carolina State. I think this is actually a solid team. They did lose a lot of talent during the offseason. They did lose Hollywood Smothers to Texas and some other guys as well. But this team still has kind of like an answer at quarterback in CJ Bailey. He actually was playing pretty solid last year. And they still have some guys as well coming back as Kenan Jackson, but they also brought in some transfer weapons there, such as JoJo Trader and Davion Dozier. But North Carolina State, they're over-under wins set at 6.5. They're also win the ACCs at 22.50. Not too bad. Don't think they're going to win, but in terms of their schedule, they start off the season in Virginia. That's going to kind of set the tone for their season, I believe. But then they follow up with Richmond. Vanderbilt's going to be pretty tough. App State lighting up the load a little bit. Then they got to play Louisville, Cal, and then FSU. Other than that, should be pretty light second half of the season. So I like where NC State's kind of headed. They just got to keep some of their talent. It seems like they keep losing a ton of their guys to the transfer portal. But they still have CJ Bailey. I think he's a really good quarterback. So we'll see how they play. I got them sitting at 7 so far. Okay, next team. In 6, I got Cal. Cal's a very interesting team because they have JKS, a really good quarterback prospect. Surprised he didn't transfer, which is good news for Cal. They were able to maintain him. They brought in a lot of transfer talent to kind of help support him. Their 3 starting receivers are transfers. They got Ian Strong, Chase Hendricks, and Cooper Perry. They kind of kept their offensive line. Their defense was pretty solid last year. They brought in some transfer guys. In nose tackle and weak side linebacker in Tristan Jerrigan. And they also brought in some secondary help as well. In terms of their schedule, UCLA is going to be a tough first game. I don't know if they'll be able to win that one. I kind of give them a loss there. But for the ACC schedule, not too bad. Clemson, Virginia Tech, SMU, Virginia, Pitt. Those are the teams that I feel like is going to test this Cal team. Their over-under wins is set at 6.5. They're also in the ACC's plus 3,000. I would say Cal is one of my dark horses to win the ACC. I don't think they'll do it yet. I wouldn't bet on that. But I do like the odds with the over-under at 6.5. I think they will get to that 7-win mark with, let's see here, UCLA, Clemson, SMU, and then Pitt. I think they'll lose 4 games, so I think that hits them at 8-4. They might lose another one, but that kind of gives you space, gives you about a game of space right there. I think they can hit it though, so I got Cal finishing 6th in this conference, and then the next couple teams or the higher tier of this conference, I think from 5-1. They have or 5-2, they have a chance of making it to the ACC Conference Championship. I don't know about winning it, but yeah. Finishing in 5th in the ACC Conference, I have Louisville. This may come to some as a surprise because I've seen a lot of people pick Louisville to make it to the ACC Championship game. I don't know. I like some of the other teams over Louisville. So for that reason, I kind of had them at 5th. Their over/under wins set at 7.5. Their odds to win the conference is plus 800. I think that's the 3rd highest odds in the ACC. Not too bad. Their schedule it's pretty tough to start off the season. Against Ole Miss, I think that's a loss. And then their first ACC games will be at SMU. That's going to really set the tone if they lose that one. Or I think whoever wins that game has a really good chance of making it to the conference championship game. But then they play Pitt towards the end of the season. They also got to run into FSU, Georgia Tech, NC State. I can see them kind of giving up 1 or 2 of those games. So I got Louisville in 5th. They did bring in a transfer quarterback out of Ohio State, and Lincoln Kienholz. We'll see how he plays. They still have Isaac Brown, really good running back option there for him. They brought in loads of transfer here in wide receivers, the offensive line. 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen are going to be transfers. New starting transfer tight end in Brody Foley. Their defense also filled the transfers, is specifically more in the secondary. We'll see how they gel. I think they're going to take some time to kind of build some chemistry. So I think that's why it's going to have a slow start to the first half of the season. They might pick it up towards the second half. But by then, I think they just won't be good enough to make the ACC championship game. In fourth, I have Clemson. Man, the downfall of Clemson is for real, man. Dabo Swinney, he cannot catch up to the game as of late. He might actually be fired after this season if they're not competitive in the conference. So I think it's going to be an interesting watch for Clemson fans this season. I mean, we'll see what he does. He kind of just relies on players in-house. They don't have a single starting transfer players starting their depth chart here. They did bring a transfer running back, but it looks like he's going to have a backup role. They did bring in 3 starting transfers in the defense. We'll see what that helps them out. The quarterback is going to be Christopher Vizina. They still have weapons on this team in TJ Moore and Brian Wesco Jr. They're going to have a true freshman starting for them, it seems like, in Naeem Burrows. Interesting watch here for Clemson. I think they're still going to be a strong team. Dabo's going to get them disciplined. I just don't think they're good enough to compete with the top teams, man. They got to play LSU the first week. I think they give that one up. They got to play Miami. They got to play FSU, Cal. Other than that, their ACC schedule isn't too bad. They have to play the likes of Duke, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, and UNC. I think the teams that's really going to get them in trouble, it might be Cal, Miami, and maybe Virginia Tech or FSU, honestly. But I got them sitting around 9 wins. Got them sitting at 9-3. Their over-under line set at 7.5. Their odds to win the ACC is at 1,400. I like the over-under 7.5. I like the over on that one. I think they have a really good chance to go over. Yeah, I got them at 9-1, so that's 2 games about over the projected line. Next team, this is everyone's pick to make it to the conference championship, as far as I've seen. It's SMU. They're a really good team because they bring in a quarterback with a lot of experience in Kevin Jennings, a really good coach in Rhett Lashley. He helps discipline the team. They don't commit a lot of penalties. They're a tough defense. And it's been very interesting to watch SMU play in the ACC because I think they won the ACC the first year. I know last year they were pretty competitive. Almost made it to the playoff, didn't they? Or was that the year before? I might be getting my years mixed up. But nevertheless, I got them finishing 3rd. Their over-under wins at 8.5. I like the over on that one as well. Odds to win the conference, plus 750. It's going to be really tough to pick anyone to win the conference besides the obvious team, which we'll get to. But in terms of their schedule, very favorable schedule for them. That second ACC game, Louisville week 3, is going to set this tone for the rest of the season. It's going to decide if they can sail through the rest of the. I think they can honestly decide who makes it to the ACC conference championship game. But I decided to be a bit bold in mine and I switched some things up. But other than Louisville, they got to play Boston College, Virginia. Cal could be a little tricky. Then they play Notre Dame, but that's not a conference game. But I got them sitting at around 10-2. So I'm going really bold with this next team, but SMU is going to be a really good team. I'm taking the over on their wins. All Kevin Jennings has to do is stay healthy, make good decisions, don't turn the ball over, and I think they're going to be looking at a very good record here. My ACC runner-up, I have Pitt. Their over-under wins set 7.5. I'm going to hammer the over on that one. Their odds to win the ACC is 1750. Not hammering that one. I think Pitt is a sneaky team, to be honest. They were coming into the season last year with expectations, did not meet them. They went through the second half of the season with a freshman quarterback who actually looked pretty impressive. It caused their starting quarterback to transfer to Virginia, and he lost the starting spot there. Their defense is looking really experienced. They have a junior, a transfer senior, a redshirt senior, a transfer senior, a defense full of experience. I think that defense is going to be tough. And while they're being led by Pat Narduzzi, I think Pitt is like a sleeper to enter the conference championship game. They're looking actually really solid. I don't see enough people talking about them. I have them, while going through their schedule, I might have been a bit bold, but I have them finishing 11-1. Honestly, their hardest game. Okay, so in terms of the ACC schedule, Virginia Tech could give them some trouble in week 5. They played Miami at Miami at week 8, and then Louisville week 12. So looking at their first few games, tell me who they lose to. They play, I think that's Ball State, UCF, Syracuse, Howard. They started season 4-0, and they're going to go into that Virginia Tech game on the road with momentum and confidence. I'm picking Pitt to upset them. And then they got UNC at home, Boston College on the road. I think they can start the season 7-0, honestly. And then they're going to run to Miami. That's going to be a loss. Georgia Tech, FSU, and Louisville after that. That can give them some trouble. And then Cal to finish the season. They're going to have a strong first half of the season. Second half of the season might be a little bit more of a bumpy road for them. But with momentum and the confidence they'll gain from the first half, I think that'll be enough to kind of overcome some of the obstacles in the second half. So I got Pitt being the runner-up for the ACC conference. All right, winning the ACC conference. Might as well call these the After Canes conference, honestly. I mean, I got the Canes. Everyone had their mamas are picking the Canes to win the ACC. Sometimes you don't have to overthink things. Their odds to win the conference, last time I checked, let me see here. I think the over-under wins set at 10.5. Odds to win the conference is -140. They're the favorite by a whole ton to win the conference. I can see why. I mean, they start the season with Stanford. The ACC conference games include Wake Forest. Clemson might be a little bit tricky. Florida State, not really. Pitt might be a little tricky. UNC. Notre Dame game. Oh my gosh, that Notre Dame game is going to be must-watch TV right there. They can honestly finish the schedule undefeated. Or with one loss, bring to Notre Dame, which, would be a big deal for their ACC title chances. But I think they win the ACC conference title for the first time in program history. That's insane to think about. Just looking at the roster, it's filled with talent. This is a team that kind of just brings in guys after guys. They bring in transfer quarterback Darren Mensah from Duke. He is legit. He has the potential to be a Heisman winner this year. A lot of people are actually picking him to win the Heisman. You can still have Marcus Fletcher Jr., great running back out of the backfield, huge receiving threat as well. They got Malachi Toney still with the team after his sophomore year after a huge freshman year. They brought 2 transfer wide receivers. The offensive lines rebuild are massive. The secondary is filled with guys with experience. It's going to be a dangerous Miami team, man. They're going to be one of the best teams in the nation. I don't think anyone else in the nation can compete with them. So I'm going with Miami. They're the obvious fit. You can't get too cute with things like this. I mean, keep Miami. So that's the ACC. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like the video down below. Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you think any other team besides Miami is going to win. And if not, who wins the Miami-Notre Dame game? Or better yet, if Notre Dame was in the ACC, would Miami still win the conference? That's a great one to think about. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for Big 10, Big 12, and then our college football playoff predictions. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.